Commander Bell looked out at the stars from the main deck of the Lumerian ship Lightseeker. His slender fingers gripped the edge of the viewing panel as another explosion rocked a nearby vessel. The Lumerian escape fleet was running out of time. "Report," Bell ordered, his soft voice barely rising above the hum of the ship's engines. Officer Nim hurried over, holding a data pad in trembling hands. "3 more colony ships lost, Commander. The Void Hunters have destroyed our rear guard." Bell closed his large amber eyes for a moment. The Lumerians had never been fighters. Their homeworld, with its low gravity and gentle climate, had not forced them to develop the strength or aggression needed for war. Their tall, thin bodies were built for thought and creation, not battle. "How many ships remain?" Bell asked. 23, Commander, carrying just under 15,000 survivors." Bell nodded slowly. 15,000 out of a colony of nearly 100,000. The Void Hunters had struck without warning, their massive black ships appearing near the Lumerian settlement on Elda 5 just 3 days ago. The attack had been ruthless and quick. "They're jamming our long-range communication." "Again," Communications Officer Trell called from her station. "We can't reach the Celestial Alliance." The Celestials were the Lumerians' closest allies, a peaceful civilization that had helped them establish colonies across this sector of space. If they could just get word to them. "Commander," Trell continued, her voice suddenly higher with excitement, "there might be a way to bypass the jamming. We could use the old emergency band and boost it through the damaged relay station near the asteroid belt." Bell moved quickly to her station. "Would that work?" "The signal would be weak and might become corrupted," Trell explained. "But the SOS pattern is simple. Anyone who receives it would recognize a call for help." "Do it," Bell ordered, without hesitation. "We have no other choice." Trell's fingers flew across the control panel, preparing the message. It was simple: their coordinates, a brief explanation of their situation, and the universal distress code recognized by all civilized species in the known galaxy. "Ready, Commander." Bell placed his hand on the transmission panel. "Send it." "May it reach the Celestials quickly." Trell activated the signal. The viewing screen showed the energy pulse shooting toward the damaged relay station that orbited a nearby asteroid. For a moment it seemed to work perfectly. Then a sudden burst of cosmic radiation, a common occurrence in this unstable region of space, hit the signal just as it passed through the relay. "No," Trell cried out. "The signal, it's been corrupted." "Can you fix it?" Bell asked urgently. Trell shook her head. "It's already gone, Commander. Parts of the message are scrambled, including the recipient codes that would have directed it to celestial space." "Where will it go?" Bell asked, dread filling his voice. "I don't know," Trell admitted. "It's still broadcasting our coordinates and the distress pattern, but it could reach anyone now." Bell turned back to the viewing window. In the distance, the massive ships of the Void Hunters grew closer. They were toying with the Lumerians now, destroying one ship at a time, enjoying the fear they caused. "Prepare the remaining ships for another jump," Bell ordered. "We need to stay ahead of them for as long as possible." As the Lumerian fleet prepared to flee once more, their corrupted distress signal traveled through space, bouncing off cosmic debris and radiation fields carried far beyond its intended path. Captain James Stone of the Earth Alliance battlecruiser Dauntless was reviewing the daily reports when Lieutenant Park interrupted him. "Captain, we've picked up something strange on the deep space channels." Stone looked up from his desk. At 45, he was considered young for a captain of a Class A battlecruiser. But 15 years of service in the Earth Alliance Navy had earned him the respect of his crew and his superiors. "What kind of strange?" Stone asked, setting down his tablet. "A partial transmission, sir. Heavily corrupted, but it contains what appears to be a universal distress pattern." Stone stood immediately. Humans had been exploring deep space for less than a century, and in that time they had encountered only 3 other intelligent species. None of them had sent distress calls to Earth ships before. "Show me," he ordered, following Park to the bridge. The Dauntless was the flagship of Battle Group 7, currently patrolling the outer reach of human-controlled space. They were at the edge of known territory, tasked with mapping new sectors and showing the flag to any potentially hostile forces. On the main screen of the bridge, Communications Officer Martinez had isolated the strange signal. Most of it was static and garbled data, but a clear pattern repeated every few seconds, the universal symbol for distress that all spacefaring civilizations agreed upon. "Can you clean it up?" Stone asked. Martinez shook her head. "This is the best I can do, sir, but I did manage to extract what looks like coordinates." "Put them on screen." A star map appeared, with a blinking red dot marking a location far outside human space. "That's at least a 2-week journey at maximum speed, Captain," First Officer Adams noted, "and well beyond our patrol zone." Stone studied the coordinates carefully. "Are we sure this is real? Not some kind of trap?" "The signal bears markers of natural corruption, sir," Martinez replied. "If someone faked this, they did an excellent job of making it look like it passed through a radiation field." Stone nodded slowly. Humanity's short history in space had taught them caution, but also the importance of responding to distress calls. It was one of the first laws passed by the Earth Alliance. All distress signals must be investigated if possible. "Contact Admiral West," Stone decided. "We need approval to change course." 20 minutes later, Stone stood before the holographic image of Admiral West, who commanded all Earth forces in this sector. "You're certain about this signal, Captain Stone?" the Admiral asked, her face serious. "As certain as we can be, ma'am. Someone out there needs help." Admiral West was silent for a moment, thinking. "You realize you could be walking into anything. We know almost nothing about that region of space." "Yes, ma'am, but the distress protocol is clear." West nodded. "So, it is very well, Captain. Battle Group 7 is authorized to investigate, but approach with extreme caution. If there's any sign of a trap, you pull back immediately." "Understood, Admiral." After the transmission ended, Stone returned to the bridge and gave the order. "Set course for the coordinates in the distress signal. Maximum speed." As the 5 ships of Battle Group 7 changed direction and accelerated to their top speed, none of the humans aboard realized they were responding to a call never meant for them. They didn't know they were about to encounter 2 alien species, one desperate for salvation, the other intent on destruction. And neither of those alien species had ever encountered humans before. They had no idea that they were about to meet beings from a high-gravity world, where constant environmental threats had forged a physically stronger, more resilient species than most in the galaxy. The humans were coming, and they were bringing with them all the strength, endurance, and fighting spirit that evolution on a Deathworld had given them. The battlecruiser Dauntless led the way, its massive engines pushing it faster than any Lumerian ship could travel. Captain Stone stood on the bridge watching the stars streak by, wondering what they would find at the end of their journey. 2 weeks to destination, sir," Adams reported. Stone nodded. "All ships to battle readiness level 2. I want weapon systems checked daily and combat drills for all crew. Whatever's waiting for us out there will be ready." Little did he know that the Lumerians were counting down the days until their inevitable capture by the Void Hunters. Their corrupted distress call, sent to the wrong part of space, had reached the most dangerous allies they could have hoped for. Help was coming, but it was coming in a form they could never have expected. 2 weeks passed quickly aboard the human ships. The crew of the Dauntless spent their days preparing for whatever they might find at the source of the distress signal. No one knew what to expect, but Captain Stone made sure they would be ready for anything. "Dropping out of faster-than-light travel in 30 seconds, announced the navigator. Captain Stone stood at the center of the bridge, hands clasped behind his back. All hands to battle stations, shields at maximum. The 5 ships of Battle Group 7 slowed as they entered normal space. Immediately, their sensors began scanning the area. "Captain," Lieutenant Martinez called out, "I'm detecting multiple ships ahead, 2 different types, smaller vessels fleeing from larger ones." Stone moved to the main viewing screen. "Show me." The screen flickered to life, displaying a scene of chaos. About 20 small, sleek ships with shimmering silver hulls were trying to escape from 5 much larger black vessels. The black ships were firing energy weapons at the smaller ones, destroying them one by one. "Life signs?" Stone asked. "Both groups show non-human life forms, sir," reported Science Officer Wilson. "The ones in the silver ships appear physically fragile, Low bone density, minimal muscle mass. The others in the black ships are more robust, though still not as dense as human physiology. Stone nodded. It seems we've stumbled into someone else's war. First Officer Adams approached the captain. Sir, the distress signal came from the silver ships. Protocol says we should assist them. Agreed, Stone said. But let's be cautious. We don't know the full situation yet. He turned to communications. Lieutenant Martinez, can you establish contact with the silver ships? Working on it now, sir. While Martinez worked, Stone issued orders to the rest of Battle Group 7. The 5 human ships spread out in a defensive formation, still at a safe distance from the conflict. I've established a connection, Captain, Martinez announced. Their language is different, but their ship's computer seems to be translating. Put it through. The main screen changed to show the face of Commander Bell. The alien looked almost human, but with key differences. Skin that was almost translucent, large amber eyes, and an elongated head. Bell's expression showed clear shock at seeing Stone. This is Captain James Stone of the Earth Alliance battlecruiser Dauntless. We received your distress signal. Do you require assistance? Bell stared in disbelief before finding his voice. You are humans? From Earth? That's correct, Stone confirmed. And you are? I am Commander Bell of the Lumarian refugee fleet. Bell's voice trembled slightly. Our signal was meant for our allies, the Celestials. We never expected Deathworlders to respond. Stone raised an eyebrow. Deathworlders? It is what we call species who evolved on high-gravity planets with extreme environmental dangers, Bell explained quickly. Your kind is known in legends, but few Lumarians believed humans actually existed. Before Stone could respond, Martinez spoke up. Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the attacking ships. On screen, Stone ordered. But keep the line to Commander Bell open. The screen split to show another alien face. This one was darker, with a heavy brow and rows of sharp teeth. When it spoke, the voice was deep and threatening. This is Hunt Leader Krall of the Void Hunters. These Lumarians are our prey. Leave now, or be destroyed with them. Stone kept his expression neutral. This is Captain Stone of the Earth Alliance. The Lumarians have requested our help. What grievance do you have with them? Krall laughed, a harsh sound. Grievance? We need no grievance. The weak exist to be harvested by the strong. It is the way of the universe. His eyes narrowed. What manner of species are you? You look soft, like the Lumarians. We are humans, Stone answered simply. For the first time, Krall looked uncertain. Humans? The Deathworlders from the legends? Then he laughed again. Impossible. Deathworlders are myths created by weak species to frighten children. Stone ignored the taunt. I am ordering you to cease your attack on the Lumarian ships immediately. You dare give orders to the Void Hunters? Krall snarled. Your 5 ships against our battle fleet? You will learn your place, human, if that is truly what you are. The transmission ended abruptly. Stone turned back to Commander Bell, who looked even more terrified now. Tell me what's happening here, Commander, quickly. Bell took a deep breath. The Void Hunters attacked our colony without warning 3 weeks ago. They killed most of our people. We are all that remains, the last of our colony. They hunt us for sport and for resources. Resources? Stone asked. Bell looked down. Our bodies contain elements they value. They process us for these materials. A grim silence fell over the human bridge. Captain, First Officer Adams said quietly, the Void Hunter ships are changing formation. They're moving toward us. Stone nodded. Alert Admiral West of our situation. Then have all ships form a barrier between the Lumarians and the Void Hunters. He turned back to Bell. Commander, move your fleet behind our ships. We'll protect you. Bell's eyes widened. Captain Stone, you don't understand. The Void Hunters have superior technology. They've destroyed entire worlds. They've never fought humans before, Stone replied. Trust me, Commander, get your people to safety. After the transmission ended, Stone addressed his crew. All hands prepare for combat. This is not a drill. Throughout the Dauntless, men and women rushed to their stations. In the weapons bay, Lieutenant Reed assembled her team. "What are we up against, Lieutenant?" asked one of the younger Marines. Reed adjusted her battle armor. "Aliens who think they're predators. Time to show them what real predators look like." Back on the bridge, Stone watched as the Void Hunter ships approached. He had studied the scans of their vessels and noted both their strengths and weaknesses. "Sir," Wilson reported, "I've analyzed their ships. Their armor is impressive, but their maneuvering thrusters are exposed. A targeted strike could disable them." Stone nodded. "Good work. Share that information with all ships." The Lumerian vessels moved behind the human formation, their silver hulls reflecting the light of the distant stars. From the Lightseeker, Commander Bell watched in amazement as the much smaller human fleet positioned itself between them and the Void Hunters. "Will they actually fight for us?" Officer Nim asked, standing beside Bell. "They don't even know us." "They answered our distress call," Bell said quietly. "That means something to them." On the Dauntless, Captain Stone opened a channel to all human ships. "This is Captain Stone. We came here to answer a call for help, and that's exactly what we're going to do. The Void Hunters believe that the strong should prey on the weak. Let's show them what happens when they pick on someone their own size. Battle Group 7 weapons free." The 5 human ships, though smaller than the Void Hunter vessels, moved with precision and speed that surprised both alien species. The Dauntless led the formation, its engines glowing as it accelerated toward the enemy. The first shots were fired by the Void Hunters, powerful energy beams that streaked across space toward the human ships. But the Earth vessels were faster than they looked, changing direction with an agility that the bulky Void Hunter ships couldn't match. From his command chair, Hunt Leader Krall watched in growing concern as the human ships evaded his first attack. "What are these creatures?" he growled. "No matter. Increase power to forward cannons. Destroy them all." The battle had begun, and as the Lumerians watched from a safe distance, they witnessed something they had never seen before. Another species, fighting to protect them, with a ferocity and skill born from thousands of years of evolution on a world that had never stopped trying to kill them. The Deathworlders had arrived, and they had come to help. Aliens sent an SOS to the wrong species. Deathworlder fleet replied. Part 3. The Battle. The space between the stars lit up with energy beams and missile trails as the battle began. The 5 human ships moved with surprising speed and coordination against the larger Void Hunter vessels. "Evasive pattern Delta," Captain Stone ordered calmly as the Dauntless rolled to avoid another energy blast. "Target their port thrusters and fire." The human ship's weapons officer responded immediately, launching a barrage of missiles that streaked toward the lead Void Hunter vessel. 3 of the 5 missiles hit their target, causing explosions that rocked the alien ship. "Direct hit, Captain," First Officer Adams reported. "Their port thrusters are damaged." Stone nodded. "Good. Now they can't turn as quickly to their left. All ships, exploit that weakness." Aboard the Void Hunter command ship, Hunt Leader Krall slammed his fist on his control panel. "How are they so accurate? These humans move like water." His weapons officer looked up nervously. "Their reaction time is unusual, Hunt Leader, and their ships are built for speed rather than power." "I don't care what they're built for," Krall snarled. "Destroy them." The Void Hunters intensified their attack, launching a wave of fighter craft from their larger vessels. The smaller fighters flew toward the human ships, their weapons charging. Stone watched the new threat approach. "Launch interceptors. Have them engage the fighters while we continue focusing on their capital ships." Smaller craft shot out from the human vessels, piloted by expert fighter pilots. The space around the larger ships became a chaotic dance of small craft dueling at incredible speeds. In one of the human interceptors, Flight Lieutenant Rodriguez spun her craft in a tight spiral, avoiding enemy fire while lining up her shot. "These guys are big but slow," she said to her wingman over the comm. "Use that against them." The human fighters darted between the larger Void Hunter fighters, using their superior maneuverability to devastating effect. One by one, the alien fighters began to explode or drift powerless in space. Meanwhile, the battle between the larger ships continued. Two of the human vessels focused their fire on one Void Hunter ship, their coordinated attack overwhelming its shields. "Their lead ship is disabled, Captain," Adams reported, "and our other battle groups report similar success." Stone nodded. "Good, but don't get overconfident. These Void Hunters aren't giving up yet." He was right. Crawl, seeing one of his ships, badly damaged, ordered a new tactic. "Concentrate all fire on the human flagship. Ignore the others for now." 3 Void Hunter vessels turned their massive weapons toward the Dauntless, unleashing a barrage that made the shields of the human ship glow bright blue, with the strain of absorbing so much energy. "Shields at 60% and falling," reported the tactical officer. Stone gripped the arms of his command chair. "Reroute emergency power to shields. All other battle group ships continue the attack on their vessels. Don't worry about us." The Dauntless shuddered as another blast hit its shields. Stone knew they couldn't take much more of this concentrated firepower. "Sir, I have an idea." Lieutenant Reed's voice came over the comm. Reed was the leader of the ship's marine unit, stationed in the launch bay with her team. "Let me take a strike team across to their disabled ship. If we can capture it, we might learn more about their weaknesses." Stone considered this for only a moment. "Approved, Lieutenant, but be careful. We know nothing about their internal defenses." "That's what makes it fun, sir," Reed replied with a grim smile that Stone couldn't see. Within minutes, Reed and a team of 12 Marines boarded a small armored shuttle and launched from the Dauntless toward the disabled Void Hunter vessel. Using the chaos of the larger battle as cover, they approached the enemy ship undetected. "Look for an entry point," Reed ordered her pilot as they circled the massive black hull. "There, a damaged section near what looks like a docking bay." The shuttle slipped through the opening, landing in a half-destroyed hangar. Reed and her team, dressed in full battle armor, moved out quickly, weapons ready. "Remember, we're in their gravity and atmosphere now," Reed warned. "Stay alert for any surprises." They encountered their first Void Hunters almost immediately, a group of 4 aliens rushing to repair damage to their ship. The aliens were tall and muscular with dark skin and predatory features. They looked strong, and they were by the standards of most species in the galaxy. But they weren't humans. The Void Hunters raised their weapons, but Reed and her team were faster. 2 of the aliens fell immediately to precise shots. The other 2 charged forward, apparently confident in their physical superiority. Reed met the charge head-on, surprising the alien with her speed and strength. The Void Hunter outweighed her by at least 50 pounds, but Reed had been born and raised on Earth, a high-gravity world that had shaped humanity for thousands of generations. She blocked the alien's attack and struck back with a quick blow, to what she hoped was a vulnerable spot. The Void Hunter staggered back, clearly shocked by her strength. "Not so weak after all, am I?" Reed said, pressing her advantage. The rest of her team made similarly short work of the remaining aliens. The humans moved deeper into the ship, fighting their way toward what their scans suggested was the bridge. Back in space, the main battle had shifted in favor of the humans. With 1 Void Hunter ship disabled and now being boarded, the others were fighting defensively, trying to protect their damaged companion. From the Lumerian vessels watching at a safe distance, Commander Bell and his crew stared in amazement. "How is this possible?" Officer Nim whispered. "The Void Hunters have never been defeated before." Bell shook his head slowly, "because they've never fought Deathworlders before." He turned to his communications officer. "Are you recording all of this? The Celestials will never believe it otherwise." On the disabled Void Hunter ship, Lieutenant Reed and her team fought their way to the bridge. The aliens they encountered were fierce but unprepared for the speed, strength, and tactical thinking of the human Marines. They're not used to fighting enemies who can actually hurt them, Reed realized as they secured another corridor. They're used to hunting prey, not facing predators. Finally, they reached the bridge. After a short but intense firefight, Reed stood over the ship's commander, a wounded void hunter who glared up at her with hatred and confusion. "How?" the alien demanded. "You are smaller than us. You should be weaker." Reed smiled behind her helmet. "Size isn't everything. It's what your planet throws at you that matters." She tapped her comm unit. "Captain Stone, we've secured the bridge of the enemy vessel, awaiting further orders." On the Dauntless, Stone allowed himself a small smile. "Well done, Lieutenant. Download whatever data you can from their systems. We need to know more about these Void Hunters." The battle outside continued, but now the remaining Void Hunter ships were in full retreat. With one of their vessels captured, and 2 others badly damaged, Hunt Leader Krall made the difficult decision. "Fall back," he ordered, his voice tight with rage. "Regroup at the staging point." As the 3 remaining Void Hunter ships turned and accelerated away from the battle, cheers erupted throughout the human fleet. They had faced an unknown enemy with superior numbers and technology, and won. Stone opened a channel to Commander Bell. "The immediate threat has been dealt with, Commander. Your people are safe for now." Bell's face appeared on the screen, his expression a mixture of awe and relief. "Captain Stone, there are no words to express our gratitude. You and your kind have saved us from extinction." "We responded to a distress call," Stone said simply. "That's what humans do." As the human fleet regrouped, tending to their wounded and repairing damage, Lieutenant Reed's team continued exploring the captured Void Hunter vessel, sending valuable data back to the Dauntless. And far away, the retreating Void Hunters sent urgent messages to their home fleet. They had encountered a new species, one that defied their understanding of the galaxy, one that had humiliated them in battle. The Deathworlders were real, and they had made a powerful enemy today. The day after the battle, Captain Stone stood in a conference room aboard the Dauntless, studying a holographic display of the star system. Around him were his senior officers and Admiral West, who appeared via secure communication from her command, ship now rushing to join them. "The Void Hunters will return," Stone said, pointing to several possible approach vectors, "and next time they'll bring more ships." Admiral West nodded from her screen. "I agree. We've analyzed the data Lieutenant Reed recovered from the captured vessel. The Void Hunters have a large fleet spread across several systems. They're calling for reinforcements as we speak." First Officer Adams looked up from her data pad. "How long do we have?" 3 days, maybe 4, replied Science Officer Wilson. "Their nearest major base is in this system." He pointed to a star about 2 light-years away. Stone turned to Communications Officer Martinez. "Any word from the Celestials? Have they responded to Commander Bell's messages?" "Yes, sir. They've acknowledged and are sending ships, but they're over a week away." Stone nodded. "Then we need to prepare for another battle while we wait for reinforcements." He looked at the Admiral. "Ma'am, what are our orders regarding the Lumerians?" Admiral West's expression was serious. "Earth Command has reviewed the situation. Our official position is to protect the Lumerians and establish formal contact. This is our first opportunity for a genuine alliance with another species. We can't waste it." "Understood," Stone replied. "I'll arrange a meeting with Commander Bell today." After the briefing ended, Stone prepared to visit the Lumerian command ship. He selected a small delegation: himself, First Officer Adams, Science Officer Wilson, and Lieutenant Reed, whose actions in boarding the enemy ship had earned her recognition. They traveled in a shuttle to the Lightseeker, the main Lumerian vessel. As they approached, they could see the sleek silver ship up close for the first time. It was beautiful, with flowing lines that seemed more artistic than functional. "Their design philosophy is different from ours," Wilson observed. "Form over function. When you don't evolve on a death world," Reed replied, "you can afford to be pretty." The shuttle docked at an airlock, and the human delegation was met by a group of Lumerians. In person, the aliens were even more striking, tall and slender, with graceful movements and large, expressive eyes. They led the humans through corridors decorated with intricate patterns of light to a meeting chamber. Commander Bell stood as they entered. "Captain Stone, welcome aboard the Lightseeker." We are honored by your presence. Stone nodded respectfully. The honor is ours, Commander. Thank you for hosting us. As they sat around a circular table, Stone noticed how the Lumerians moved carefully, as if the humans' mere presence made them nervous. He tried to appear less intimidating, keeping his movements slow and deliberate. I must admit, Bell began, many of my people are still processing what happened yesterday. The Void Hunters were thought to be unstoppable, yet your ships defeated them. We had the advantage of surprise, Stone said modestly. They won't underestimate us next time. Bell's large eyes blinked slowly. Next time? You believe they will return? We know they will, Stone confirmed. They're calling for reinforcements. A murmur of concern passed through the Lumerians. Bell leaned forward. Then we must flee immediately. Our remaining ships can... Commander, Stone interrupted. Gently, running isn't the answer. They'll just keep hunting you. We need to stand and fight together. Together? Bell seemed confused. But why would you continue to risk your lives for us? You've done more than enough already. First Officer Adams spoke up. It's what we do, Commander. On Earth we have a saying, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. Bell considered this. A wise philosophy. But you must understand, Captain, we Lumerians are not fighters. Our species evolved on a gentle world with few predators and abundant resources. We became builders, thinkers, healers, but never warriors. You don't need to be warriors, Stone replied. We can handle the fighting, but we need to know more about you, your technology, your knowledge of this region of space. Science Officer Wilson added, our scans show your ships have advanced medical facilities and agricultural systems far beyond our own. We could learn much from each other. Bell's expression changed, showing surprise and then understanding. Ah, I see. An exchange of knowledge. An alliance, Stone corrected. My government has authorized me to propose a formal relationship between our species. Protection in exchange for technological and scientific cooperation. The Lumerians conferred among themselves in their own language for a few moments before Bell turned back to Stone. We would be honored to form such an alliance, Captain. I would like to show you something that might be of particular interest to humans. Bell led them to another part of the ship, a large hydroponics bay where plants of various colors grew in spiraling patterns. This is our food production system. It can grow enough food for 1,000 Lumerians in this one room, using minimal resources. Wilson examined the system with obvious excitement. Incredible efficiency. This could revolutionize food production in Earth's more crowded colonies. Bell nodded. And this is our medical bay. They entered a room filled with advanced equipment. Our healing technology can repair injuries and cure diseases that once plagued our people. Amazing, Adams whispered, watching as a Lumerian doctor demonstrated a device that closed a wound instantly without leaving a scar. Lieutenant Reed, who had been quiet until now, suddenly spoke up. Commander Bell, may I ask a personal question? Bell turned to her. Of course, Lieutenant. You said your people evolved on a gentle world. How did that shape your society? Your history? Bell considered this for a moment. We have never known war among ourselves, Lieutenant. Until the Void Hunters came, we had not experienced violence on a large scale for thousands of years. He paused. I understand this is different from human history. Reed nodded. Very different. Would you tell me about your world? Bell asked. About Earth? So while Stone, Adams, and Wilson continued exploring the Lumerian ship with other guides, Reed sat with Bell in a quiet observation room, telling him about humanity's long, often violent history. Our planet tried to kill us in 1,000 ways, she explained. Predators, diseases, natural disasters, extreme climates. It made us tough, adaptable. When we weren't fighting our environment, we often fought each other. Bell listened with a mixture of horror and fascination. And yet you came to help us, strangers, without hesitation. That's the other side of being human, Reed said. Yes, we can be violent, but we also have incredible empathy. Maybe because we know suffering so well, We try to prevent it in others when we can. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent call from the Dauntless. Stone answered immediately. "Captain, long-range sensors have detected multiple ships entering the system," reported the tactical officer. "Void Hunter signatures. They've arrived early." Stone looked at Bell, whose expression showed fear but also a new resolve. "How many ships?" 12, sir. More than twice what we faced before." Stone nodded grimly. "Alert all ships, battle stations." He turned to Bell. "It seems our new alliance will be tested sooner than expected, Commander." Bell stood straighter, summoning courage. "What can we do to help?" "Your ships don't have weapons, but they do have advanced sensors and shields," Stone said. "Can your people coordinate with ours? Share tactical data in real time?" "Yes," Bell replied without hesitation. "We can modify our systems to connect with yours." Stone smiled. "Then let's get to work. We have a lot to do before they arrive." As the humans returned to their shuttle, Reed paused beside Bell. "Commander, there's something you should know about humans." "What is that, Lieutenant?" "We're at our best when things are at their worst." She gave him a confident smile. "The Void Hunters have no idea what they're in for." As the human shuttle departed, Bell watched through the viewing port. These strange, strong creatures from a deadly world had changed everything in just 2 days. For the first time since the Void Hunters attacked their colony, Bell felt something new: hope. The Deathworlders were scary, yes, but they were on his side now. The 12 Void Hunter ships appeared at the edge of the system, their black hulls absorbing the distant starlight. They moved in tight formation, weapons charged and ready for revenge. Hunt Leader Krall stood on the bridge of his new flagship, his previous vessel having been captured by the humans. The humiliation of that defeat still burned in his chest. "Display the enemy formation," he ordered. A holographic image appeared, showing the 5 human ships positioned in a defensive line in front of the Lumerian vessels. Behind them, the captured Void Hunter ship now flew human colors. "They dare to use one of our own ships against us," Krall growled. "They will pay for their arrogance." His second-in-command approached cautiously. "Hunt Leader, we've received new information about these humans. They come from a high-gravity world with extreme environmental conditions. Our databases classify their home planet as a Class 5 death world." Krall's eyes narrowed. "So the legends were true. It matters not. We have them outnumbered more than 2 to 1. But sir, the last time we were unprepared," Krall snapped. "This time we know what we face." He turned to his tactical officer. "Begin the attack." On the Dauntless, Captain Stone watched the approaching enemy fleet with calm resolve. The past 3 days had been spent in intense preparation. The human and Lumerian crews had worked around the clock to integrate their systems and develop new tactics. "They're coming in fast," First Officer Adams reported. "Formation suggests they'll try to overwhelm us with numbers." Stone nodded. "Just as we expected." He opened a channel to the Lumerian command ship. "Commander Bell, are your sensors ready?" Bell's face appeared on the screen. "Yes, Captain. We're tracking all 12 enemy vessels and feeding the data to your tactical systems in real time." "Excellent. Maintain position behind our defensive line. Your shields should hold if any of them break through." Bell's expression was solemn but determined. "Good luck, Captain. We're counting on you." Stone turned to communications. "Open a channel to all human ships." When Martinez nodded, he addressed his fleet. "This is Captain Stone. We've faced these enemies before and beaten them. Today we fight not just for ourselves, but for our new allies. Remember your training, trust your instincts, and watch out for each other. Battle Group 7. Engage at will." The human ships moved forward to meet the Void Hunter fleet. This time, there was no hesitation on either side. Space erupted with weapons fire as the 2 forces collided. The Void Hunters had learned from their previous defeat and focused their attack on the flanks of the human formation, trying to get around them to the vulnerable Lumerian ships behind. "They're trying to split us up," Adams observed. Let them try, Stone replied. Lieutenant Reed, is your team ready? Reed's voice came through clear over the comm. Ready and waiting, Captain. Execute Operation Trojan on the captured Void Hunter ship, now renamed Defiance. Lieutenant Reed and her team of Marines waited as their vessel appeared to drift away from the main battle, as if damaged. The ship had been carefully modified over the past days, with Lumarian stealth technology integrated into its systems. They're taking the bait, Reed said as her tactical display showed 2 Void Hunter ships breaking off to intercept them. Charging weapons. Wait for them to get closer. The Void Hunters approached, cautiously but confidently, believing they were about to recapture one of their own ships. They didn't realize that while the outside looked the same, the inside now contained a crew of determined humans and several of the Lumarians' most advanced technological systems. Now, Reed ordered. The Defiance suddenly came to life, its engines flaring as it accelerated directly toward the nearest Void Hunter ship. At the same time, hidden weapon ports opened along its hull, revealing new weapons developed by combining human and Lumarian technology. The Void Hunters, caught by surprise, tried to turn away, but it was too late. The Defiance fired, blue-white energy beams cutting through the enemy shields like they weren't there. Direct hit, shouted Reed's weapons officer. Their main power core is destabilizing. The first Void Hunter ship exploded in a flash of light, while the second turned to flee, only to run straight into the waiting guns of another human vessel. Back in the main battle, the human ships were holding their own despite being outnumbered. The Lumarian sensors gave them a crucial edge, allowing them to predict enemy movements and target vulnerable systems with pinpoint accuracy. The Defiance has taken out 2 enemy ships, Adams reported, and our other vessels have disabled 3 more. That's 5 down, 7 to go. Stone nodded. Signal all ships to execute Maneuver Delta. Let's finish this. The human fleet suddenly changed formation, confusing the Void Hunters who had been trying to predict their movements. The Earthship seemed to be retreating, pulling back toward the Lumarian position. Hunt Leader Krall saw this as an opportunity. They're falling back. Press the attack. Destroy them all. The Void Hunter fleet surged forward, eager to finish off what they saw as a weakening enemy. They didn't notice that the Lumarian ships had moved into a specific pattern, their advanced shield systems humming with power. They're in position, Bell's voice came through to Stone. Ready when you are, Captain. Now, Commander. The Lumarian ships activated their modified shield technology, creating a massive energy field that trapped the pursuing Void Hunter vessels. At the same time, the human ships turned sharply and attacked from all sides. Caught in the Lumarian energy field, the Void Hunter ships couldn't maneuver properly. Their weapons fire was absorbed by the field while the human weapons passed through, specifically calibrated to the field's frequency. It was over in minutes. 3 more Void Hunter ships were destroyed and the remaining 4, including Krall's flagship, were severely damaged. Void Hunter command vessel is hailing us, Martinez reported. Put them through, Stone ordered. Krall's face appeared on screen, his expression a mixture of rage and disbelief. How? How is this possible? You are so few, and we are many. Stone's reply was calm. Quality over quantity, Hunt Leader. Your ships are retreating. I suggest you join them while you still can. Krall snarled but said nothing more. The transmission ended abruptly. They're withdrawing from the system, Adams confirmed moments later. All 4 remaining vessels. A cheer went up throughout the bridge. Stone allowed himself a small smile before opening a channel to the Lumarian ship. Commander Bell, the enemy is retreating. Your people are safe. Bell's face showed wonder and gratitude. Captain Stone, you have done the impossible twice. The Lumarian people will never forget this. 1 week later, a new ship arrived in the system, the lead vessel of the Celestial Alliance, the faction the Lumarians had originally tried to contact. The Celestials were shocked to find their gentle friends now working side by side with legendary Deathworlders. In the main conference room of the Dauntless, Captain Stone sat with Commander Bell as they welcomed the Celestial Ambassador, a being of light and energy contained in a crystalline form. We received your distress call, the ambassador said to Bell, "but it seems you found unexpected help." Bell nodded. "The best kind of help, Ambassador. The humans have protected us, shared their strength, and asked only for friendship in return." The ambassador turned to Stone. "Captain, the Celestial Alliance has heard many stories about Earth and its people. Some call you dangerous, others call you unpredictable. We can be both," Stone acknowledged, "but we can also be loyal allies and friends." The ambassador seemed to consider this. "Perhaps it is time for the galaxy to rethink its view of Deathworlders. Your actions here speak louder than any legend." After the meeting, Stone and Bell stood at a viewing window, watching as human and Lumerian crews worked together to repair damaged ships and prepare for the journey to Earth, where the Lumerian refugees would find a temporary home. "Do you think the Void Hunters will return?" Bell asked. Stone nodded. "Eventually, but next time they'll face not just humans, but a united front of multiple species. Thanks to you, we've made our first real allies in space." Bell smiled, a human gesture he had recently learned. "All because our distress signal went to the wrong species." "Or maybe," Stone replied, "it went to exactly the right one." Far away, across the stars, Earth prepared to welcome its first alien visitors. And throughout the galaxy, news spread of the Deathworlders who had defeated the Void Hunters, not to conquer or destroy, but to protect a species that couldn't protect itself. A new chapter in galactic history had begun, all because a distress call had found its way to the wrong species, or perhaps, as many would later say, to exactly the right one. The stars burned red in the darkness of space. Captain Thorne gripped the metal rail of his command bridge as another explosion shook his ship. Through the thick glass windows, he could see his world dying below. Corax Prime had been beautiful, once, green oceans and silver cities that sparkled in the light of twin suns. Now black smoke covered everything. The Vex ships hung in the sky like giant metal spiders, dropping fire on anything that moved. "Sir, the defense platforms are gone," said his communications officer. Her scaled hands shook as she spoke. "All 12 stations have been destroyed." Thorne closed his eyes for a moment. 12 massive defense platforms. Each one had cost billions to build. Each one had been called impossible to destroy. The Vex had wiped them out in less than an hour. "How many ships do we have left?" he asked. 7, sir, maybe 6 now. I lost contact with the Starfire 2 minutes ago. 7 ships against the Vex fleet." Thorne almost laughed, but there was nothing funny about watching your home burn. The Vex had brought over 300 warships to his system. Dark metal giants, with red lights that looked like angry eyes. He had heard the stories. Every species in the galaxy had heard them. The Vex came without warning. They destroyed everything that fought back. They enslaved everything that surrendered. For 300 years, they had been moving across the galaxy like a disease. First, they had taken the outer rim worlds, small colonies that nobody cared about. Then they had destroyed the Nexari Collective. The crystal beings had been peaceful traders for thousands of years. The Vex had turned their homeworlds into glass. After that came the Metal Lords of Titan, 7, ancient machines that had built cities in the hearts of dead stars. The Vex had ripped apart their star forges and melted down their bodies for scrap metal, world after world, species after species. The pattern never changed. The Vex would arrive with their massive fleets. They would demand surrender. If you said yes, they made you their slaves. If you said no, they killed everyone. "Sir, incoming transmission from the Vex flagship," the communications officer said. "Put it through." The main screen flickered and showed a face that gave Thorne nightmares. Admiral Kane of the Vex Empire looked almost human, but wrong in every way. His skin was pale gray. His eyes were solid black. Metal tubes ran from his skull into his uniform. "Captain Thorne of the Corax, Defense Fleet," Kane said. His voice sounded like rocks grinding together. "Your pathetic resistance is over. Order your remaining ships to surrender." "Never," Thorne said. Kane smiled, showing teeth made of black metal. "I expected that answer. Your species has always been stubborn. It will make breaking you more interesting. The screen went dark. Thorn knew what would come next. The Vex would finish destroying his fleet. Then they would land troops on Korax Prime. The killing would go on for days. "Sir, the Moonbeam is requesting orders," his tactical officer said. Thorn looked at the battle display. 6 red dots showed his remaining ships. Around them, hundreds of green dots marked the Vex fleet. It was like watching insects try to fight a forest fire. "Tell all ships to target the Vex troop carriers," he ordered. "If we're going to die, let's make it count." His ship shook again as Vex weapons hit the hull. Warning lights flashed red all around the bridge. The air tasted like burning metal and fear. Thorn watched his ships move into their final attack. The Moonbeam and the Starguard flew straight at the Vex formation. Their weapons fired streams of blue energy that looked like falling stars. A few Vex fighters exploded, but more took their place. The Korax ships were brave. Their crews were good soldiers, but bravery meant nothing against the Vex war machine. One by one, Thorn's fleet died. The Moonbeam lasted 3 minutes. The Starguard managed 4 before a Vex missile tore it in half. "Sir, we're the last ship," the communications officer said. Her voice was very quiet. Thorn nodded. He had known this moment would come. Every military leader in the galaxy knew how their story would end when the Vex arrived. You fought as long as you could. Then you died. But maybe death didn't have to be completely pointless. "Open all communication channels," he ordered. "Every frequency we have. Military, civilian, everything." "Sir?" "Do it." The communications officer's claws clicked on her control panel. "All channels open, sir." Thorn took a deep breath. His words would travel across space faster than light. Maybe someone would hear them. Maybe someone would care. "This is Captain Thorn of the Korax Defense Fleet," he said. "Our world is dying. Our people are dead, or will be soon. The Vex Empire has destroyed everything we built in 10,000 years. Another explosion. Pieces of his ship's hull flew past the windows. "To anyone listening," Thorn continued, "the Vex cannot be stopped by normal means. They have weapons we cannot match, ships we cannot destroy. They have conquered 80% of the galaxy." His tactical officer looked up from her station. "Sir, they're targeting our engines." "To anyone who still fights," Thorn said, speaking faster now. "You need something new, something they haven't seen before. The old ways of war don't work against them." A massive impact threw everyone to the floor. The lights went out for a moment, then came back dim and flickering. "They fear nothing because nothing has ever hurt them," Thorn said. "But everything that exists can be destroyed. Find a way. Find—" The final missile hit the bridge directly. Captain Thorn's last transmission scattered across the galaxy in a burst of static and light. Far away, on the edge of known space, a small blue world received his message. The beings there had avoided contact with the greater galaxy. They had seemed primitive and weak to the major powers, but they had been listening, and they had been preparing. Admiral Kane watched the last Korax ship explode from the bridge of his flagship, the Devastator. Another perfect victory. Another species added to the Empire's slave rolls. The few survivors on the planet below would serve the Vex for the rest of their short lives. "Admiral," his communications officer said, "we intercepted the final transmission from their captain." "What did he say?" "A call for help, sir. Broadcast on all frequencies toward the outer rim." Kane laughed. "Let him call. There's nothing out there but empty space and dead worlds. The Vex Empire is unstoppable." He turned to look at the tactical display showing Vex territory. Red zones marked their conquered space. It covered most of the galaxy now. Soon, it would cover all of it. "Set course for the next system," Kane ordered. "The war continues." But in the darkness between stars, something had already begun to move. The UTS Defiance dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of what used to be Nexari territory. Captain Riley felt the ship's systems connect to her mind as Oracle's voice whispered through her enhanced neural links. "Arrival confirmed, Captain. We are in the Kepler 442 system. Long-range sensors detect debris fields and no life signs." Riley opened her eyes and looked at the main screen. Space around them was filled with the broken remains of crystal cities. The Nexari had built their homes on asteroids, growing beautiful structures that looked like frozen music. Now those structures were shattered glass floating in the dark. How? Long ago? She asked. Based on radiation decay, approximately 6 months, Oracle replied. The attack was thorough. No survivors detected. Riley's enhanced mind processed the information quickly. 6 months meant the Vex had moved on to other targets. This system would be lightly defended, if at all. Tactical, what do we have? She called to her crew. Lieutenant Torres, her tactical officer, was also enhanced. His eyes glowed slightly blue as he linked to the ship's sensor array. 3 Vex patrol ships orbiting the 4th planet. Standard cruiser class. They're scanning the ruins for salvageable materials. Perfect, Riley said. Time to introduce ourselves. The Defiance moved deeper into the system. It was a beautiful ship in its own way, but not like the elegant vessels other species built. Human engineering focused on function over form. Every line of the ship was designed for war. Captain, said Communications Officer Park, we're receiving a transmission from the Vex patrol leader. Let's hear it. The alien voice that came through the speakers sounded annoyed. Unknown vessel, you are entering Vex territory without authorization. Identify yourself and state your business. Riley smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. Open a channel. Channel open, Captain. This is Captain Riley of the United Terran Defense Force, she said. I'm here to deliver a message. There was a pause. Then the Vex commander spoke again, this time with amusement in his voice. Terran? We have no record of your species in our databases. Are you refugees from one of our recent conquests? No, Riley said. We're something new. Whatever you are, you will surrender immediately. Resistance is futile. We are the Vex Empire. Riley looked at her crew. Enhanced humans at every station, their minds linked to the ship's systems. They had trained for this moment for years. Oracle, she said quietly. Tactical analysis. 3 Vex cruisers, each approximately 800 meters in length. Standard, plasma weapons and kinetic shields. Crew complement roughly 200 per ship. They are moving to surround us. Weaknesses? Their shield generators are positioned on the outer hull. Directed energy weapons could overload them with sufficient power. Their weapon systems have a 2-second charging cycle between shots. Riley nodded. 2 seconds was a lifetime in combat when you could think and react in milliseconds. All hands prepare for combat, she announced. This is what we trained for. The Vex ships moved into attack formation. They were confident. 3 ships against 1 was good odds, especially when dealing with an unknown species that probably had inferior technology. Commander Vex, leader of the patrol group, studied the human ship through his tactical display. It was larger than his cruisers but didn't look particularly impressive. Thick armor and lots of weapon ports, but nothing his ships couldn't handle. Target their engines first, he ordered. The Empire will want to study their technology before we destroy them. The first Vex ship fired a stream of superheated plasma. The energy beam lanced across space toward the Defiance's rear section. It never reached its target. Point defense systems along the human ship's hull activated faster than any organic eye could follow. Dozens of small turrets swiveled and fired, streams of coherent light. The plasma beam hit the defensive fire and scattered into harmless radiation. What? Commander Vex stared at his display. How did they? The Defiance's main weapons fired. Twin beams of concentrated energy hit the first Vex cruiser amidships. The alien shields flared bright blue, then overloaded and collapsed. The beams punched through the hull like it was made of paper. Secondary explosions rippled along the ship's length as power systems overloaded. The cruiser broke in half. Both pieces tumbled away, trailing atmosphere and debris. Impossible, Commander Vex whispered. Riley felt Oracle's satisfaction through their neural link. The AI had calculated the exact frequency needed to overload Vex shields. Human technology had advantages the aliens couldn't imagine. 2 targets remaining, Torres reported. They're trying to flank us. Let them come, Riley said. The second Vex ship fired missiles. 12 plasma warheads streaked toward the Defiance at tremendous speed. Any normal ship would have been destroyed. The Defiance wasn't normal. Its point defense grid came alive. Hundreds of small lasers tracked the incoming missiles with perfect precision. Each warhead was intercepted and destroyed before getting within a kilometer of the human ship. The space around the Defiance lit up like a fireworks display. Their defensive systems are incredible, Commander Vex said to his remaining ship. Focus all fire on a single point. We have to overwhelm their... The Defiance rotated and fired its secondary weapons. Kinetic rounds moving at 30% of light speed hit the second cruiser before the alien commander could finish his sentence. The projectiles passed through the ship's shields like they weren't there and punched massive holes in the hull. The cruiser's fusion reactor destabilized. It exploded in a ball of white-hot plasma that briefly outshone the system's star. Commander, Vex was alone now. His remaining ship faced the human vessel in the wreckage of his patrol group. 2 ships destroyed in less than 3 minutes. His hands shook as he reached for the communication controls. "This is Commander Vex to all Vex forces," he transmitted. "Priority alert. Unknown hostile species has appeared in Sector 7. They possess advanced weapons technology. My patrol group has been destroyed. I am the only..." Riley had heard enough. "Oracle, jam his communications." "Communications jammed, Captain. Now end this." The Defiance's main cannon charged up. Energy readings spiked as the weapon drew power from the ship's fusion reactors. Commander Vex watched his sensors scream warnings about the energy buildup targeting his ship. "Please," he transmitted to the human vessel. "I surrender. My ship surrenders." Riley's voice came back cold and clear. The Nexari tried to surrender, too. How did that work out for them? The main cannon fired. The energy beam struck the Vex cruiser's bridge and continued through the entire length of the ship. The vessel split apart like a broken toy. Silence returned to the Kepler 442 system. The Defiance floated alone among the debris of 3 Vex warships and the ancient ruins of Nexari civilization. "Scan for survivors," Riley ordered. "No life signs detected," Torres reported. "All Vex vessels have been destroyed." Riley leaned back in her command chair. Her first combat action against the Vex had lasted exactly 12 minutes. 3 enemy ships eliminated with 0 damage to her own vessel. Oracle, analysis of Vex combat capabilities. Their technology is approximately 50 years behind current human military standards, the AI reported. Their tactics are designed to overwhelm weaker opponents through numbers and fear rather than technological superiority. What about their main fleets? Based on intercepted communications, their heavy warships are larger, but use the same basic technology. Estimated time to develop countermeasures: minimal. Riley smiled. The Vex Empire had conquered the galaxy by fighting species that hadn't prepared for war. They were bullies who had never faced a real opponent. "Set course for the next Vex outpost," she ordered. "Send a message to Admiral Beck. Tell him first contact was successful. The enemy is not as strong as they appear." "Course plotted, Captain. Engaging hyperspace drive." As the Defiance jumped to its next target, the wreckage of the Vex patrol continued to drift in space. Soon, salvage crews would find the debris and try to understand what had destroyed 3 warships so easily. But by then, Captain Riley and her crew would be long gone, carrying their war deeper into Vex territory. The galaxy's bullies were about to learn what happened when they picked on someone who could fight back. The age of Vex terror was ending. The age of human vengeance had begun. The message reached Earth 3 days after Captain Thorne died. Admiral Beck sat in the underground command center beneath the Rocky Mountains. The room was carved from solid rock and filled with screens showing data from across human space. Every wall displayed maps of star systems, ship positions, and resource reports. "Play it again," Beck said. The communication officer pressed a button. Captain Thorne's voice filled the room, broken by static but still clear enough to understand. His desperate words about the Vex Empire and their unstoppable advance made everyone listen in silence. "That's the 15th message we've received this month," said Colonel Hayes, Beck's second in command. "All saying the same thing. The Vex are coming, and no one can stop them." Beck nodded slowly. He was an old man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had spent 40 years preparing for this day. How long before they reach our border? At their current speed, 6 months, Hayes replied. Maybe less if they don't stop to enslave survivors. Beck stood up and walked to the largest screen. It showed the galaxy with different colors marking different territories. Red zones belonged to the Vex Empire. Blue zones were human space. The red was spreading like spilled blood across the stars. Gentlemen, Beck said, activate Project Titan. A door at the back of the room opened. Dr. Morgan walked in, carrying a metal briefcase that never left her side. She was younger than Beck, with sharp eyes and hands that moved quickly when she talked. Are you sure, Admiral? She asked. Once we reveal Project Titan, there's no going back. The galaxy will know what humanity can do. The galaxy is dying, Beck said. If we wait any longer, there won't be anyone left to save. Dr. Morgan set her briefcase on the table and opened it. Inside were data chips containing humanity's greatest secret. For 70 years, while other species had focused on trade and politics, humans had been building weapons. Show them, Beck ordered. Dr. Morgan activated a holographic projector. The air above the table shimmered and formed the image of a massive starship. It was 2 kilometers long and covered in weapon ports and armor plating. The design looked nothing like the pretty ships other species built for exploration and diplomacy. The UTS Defiance, Dr. Morgan said. Humanity's answer to the Vex Empire. Colonel Hayes whistled softly. I've heard rumors, but seeing it. The ship has been under construction for 15 years, Dr. Morgan continued, hidden in the asteroid belt beyond Mars. We used mining operations as cover while our best engineers worked in secret. She touched in a control, and the hologram zoomed in to show different sections of the ship. Triple-layered armor made from metals we discovered in the outer planets. Weapons powered by controlled fusion reactions, and an artificial intelligence system that can process information faster than any organic brain. What about the crew? Beck asked. 500 of our best people, Dr. Morgan said. All volunteers, all enhanced. The room went quiet. Everyone knew about the enhancement program. It was humanity's other secret project. Genetic improvements that made soldiers stronger, faster, and smarter than normal humans. Other species would call it playing God. Humans called it survival. Enhanced how? Hayes asked. Improved reflexes, better hand-eye coordination, increased mental processing speed, Dr. Morgan explained. They can react to threats in milliseconds instead of seconds. They can calculate firing solutions while dodging enemy weapons. They think and move like machines, but they're still human where it counts. Beck walked around the hologram, studying every detail of the ship. What about weapons? Directed energy cannons that can punch through any known armor, Dr. Morgan said. Kinetic missiles that move at 30% of light speed. And something new, quantum torpedoes that phase through normal matter before exploding inside enemy. Ships, combat drones, 200 of them. Each one controlled by an enhanced pilot using quantum link technology. The pilot's mind connects directly to the drone's systems. They can control multiple units simultaneously while staying safe inside the ship. Hayes shook his head. It sounds impossible. 20 years ago, faster than light travel sounded impossible, Dr. Morgan replied. Humans have always been good at making the impossible work. Beck stopped walking and looked at his officers. Who's commanding this ship? Captain Riley, Dr. Morgan said. Veteran of the Mars colonial wars, enhanced reflexes and tactical intelligence. She's been training with the Defiance systems for 2 years. I know Riley, Beck said. Good soldier, smart commander. She'll need to be both to make this work. The hologram changed to show the ship's bridge. It looked like the inside of a computer, rather than a normal command center. Screens covered every surface. Control interfaces glowed with blue light. At the center sat a command chair connected to dozens of cables and sensors. The captain links directly to the ship's AI during combat, Dr. Morgan explained. She can see what every sensor sees, control every weapon system, coordinate every drone pilot. The ship becomes an extension of her mind. That sounds dangerous, Hayes said. Everything about this mission is dangerous, Beck replied. But it's our only chance. Dr. Morgan closed the hologram and packed her briefcase. The Defiance finished its final tests yesterday. All systems are operational. The crew is ready for launch. Beck walked to a secure communication terminal in the corner of the room. His hand hovered over the activation key. Once he pressed it, everything would change. Humanity would leave its hiding place and enter the galactic war. "Admiral," Hayes said quietly, "are we ready for this? We've spent centuries avoiding contact with alien species. Now we're going to fight their war." "It's not their war anymore," Beck said. "The Vex won't stop with alien worlds. They'll come for us next. Better to fight them now while we still have allies left in the galaxy." He pressed the activation key. Alarms began sounding throughout the underground base. Red lights flashed as the facility switched to war mode. All across human space, similar alarms were sounding in hidden bases and secret shipyards. "Send the activation codes to Captain Riley," Beck ordered. "Tell her she has full authority to engage the enemy at her discretion." "What about the other species?" Hayes asked. "Should we warn them that we're coming?" Beck smiled for the first time in days. "Let it be a surprise. The Vex have been terrorizing the galaxy for 3 centuries. Time for them to learn what terror really means." Far from Earth, in the cold darkness of the asteroid belt, the UTS Defiance began powering up its engines. Captain Riley sat in the command chair as cables connected to her enhanced nervous system. Around her, 500 of humanity's finest. Warriors prepared for a war that would decide the fate of the galaxy. The ship's AI, Oracle, spoke in a voice that sounded almost human. "All systems ready, Captain. Course plotted for Vex territory." "Take us out, Oracle," Riley said. "It's time to end this war." The Defiance moved from its hiding place among the asteroids. Its engines glowed like small stars as the massive ship accelerated toward enemy space. Behind it, the lights of Earth grew smaller until they disappeared completely. Humanity was no longer hiding. The real war was about to begin. Admiral Kane stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Devastator, reading reports that made no sense. 3 patrol ships destroyed, no survivors, no distress calls, just wreckage and empty space where his forces used to be. "Show me the debris analysis again," he ordered. His science officer, a pale creature with metal implants covering half his face, activated the holographic display. "The damage patterns are unlike anything in our databases, Admiral. The hull breaches were caused by directed energy weapons of unknown design. The precision is disturbing." Kane studied the floating images of twisted metal and burned circuits. "What species did this?" "They called themselves Terrans, sir. We have no records of this species in our conquered territories." "Then find them," Kane snarled. "Deploy Squadron 7 to investigate. 12 heavy cruisers should be enough to handle whatever destroyed our patrol." "Yes, sir. Squadron 7 is already moving to intercept." Kane turned to look out at the stars. In 300 years of conquest, no single ship had ever defeated multiple Vex vessels. Whatever these Terrans were, they would learn the same lesson as every other species. Resistance was futile. Captain Riley felt the Defiance drop out of hyperspace near the industrial world of Forge Prime. The planet had once belonged to a species called the Builders. Now it was a Vex slave camp, mining rare metals for the Empire's war machine. "Sensor sweep complete," reported Lieutenant Torres. 12 Vex heavy cruisers moving to intercept. They're in tight formation. Riley's enhanced eyes studied the tactical display. The Vex ships were each over a kilometer long, bristling with weapons and thick armor. In a normal battle, any one of them could destroy a dozen smaller vessels. "Oracle, what do you think?" "Analysis indicates the enemy is taking us seriously this time," the AI replied through their neural link. "Larger ships, better coordination, more firepower, they are adapting." "Good. Time to show them why that won't help." Riley activated the ship's intercom. "All drone pilots prepare for launch. This is what we trained for." Deep inside the Defiance, 200 enhanced humans sat in chairs that looked like electronic cocoons. Cables connected their minds directly to combat drones stored in the ship's launch bays. Each pilot could control multiple drones simultaneously, their enhanced reflexes allowing them to fight battles at speeds no normal person could match. Drone bay doors opening, announced Pilot Marcus, the squadron leader. All units ready for launch. Launch when ready, Riley ordered. The Defiance's hull split open in dozens of places. Combat drones poured out like angry wasps from a disturbed nest. Each drone was small and fast, armed with weapons that could destroy ships 10 times their size. Commander Voss, leading Squadron 7, watched the human ship release its drone swarm. What are those things? Unknown combat units, his tactical officer replied. 200 separate contacts, they're moving in perfect coordination. Fighters, Voss decided. Target the carrier ship. Once we destroy their base, the fighters will be helpless. He was wrong. The drone swarm split into multiple groups, each moving with impossible precision. They didn't attack like normal fighters, trying to overwhelm enemy defenses through numbers. Instead, they moved like pieces of a single mind, anticipating each other's movements and coordinating attacks with perfect timing. Incoming missiles from the Vex formation, Torres reported. Riley smiled. Point defense active. Drone squadron, you are clear to engage. The Vex heavy cruisers fired hundreds of missiles at the human ship. The projectiles streaked through space like falling stars, each one capable of destroying a city. They never reached their target. The drone swarm moved between the missiles and the Defiance. Each small craft fired precisely timed laser bursts, detonating the incoming warheads in cascades of light. The missiles died in beautiful explosions that lit up the darkness. Impossible, Commander Voss whispered. How are they coordinating like that? He got his answer when the drones began their attack run. Each group of drones targeted a different Vex cruiser. They moved in patterns that seemed random, but were actually calculated by Oracle's massive processing power. The AI fed tactical data directly into each pilot's mind, creating a hive mind effect that no Vex computer could match. The first cruiser died in seconds. Drones swarmed around it like hungry sharks, their weapons targeting specific weak points in the ship's armor. They didn't waste shots on heavily defended areas. Instead, they hit weapon batteries, engine pods, and shield generators with surgical precision. The Vex ship's defenses collapsed. Its main reactor went critical. The explosion took out 2 nearby cruisers that were trying to help. 3 ships down, Pilot Marcus reported, his voice excited. Moving to target 4. Commander Voss watched his squadron die around him. His ships were firing everything they had, but the human drones were too fast and too smart. They dodged incoming fire like they could see the future. All ships focus fire on the drones, he ordered. Ignore the carrier. Another mistake. While the Vex concentrated on the drone swarm, the Defiance moved into optimal firing position. Its main weapons charged up, drawing power from the ship's massive fusion reactors. Riley felt Oracle's satisfaction through their neural link. Perfect positioning achieved, Captain. All targets in optimal firing arc. Fire. The Defiance's main batteries spoke with the voice of concentrated starlight. Energy beams lanced out, at light speed hitting 3 Vex cruisers simultaneously. The alien ship's shields overloaded instantly. Their armor turned to plasma. Their hulls split open like ripe fruit. This is impossible, Commander Voss screamed into his communicator. How is one ship destroying my entire squadron? Riley's voice came back calm and cold. You've been fighting frightened civilians for 3 centuries. We're soldiers. The battle continued for another 10 minutes. It wasn't really a battle anymore. It was an execution. The human drones moved through the Vex formation like ghosts, striking wherever the enemy was weakest. The Defiance's main guns fired again and again, each shot claiming another cruiser. The Vex return fire was wild and desperate, hitting nothing but empty space. Commander Voss found himself alone, his flagship surrounded by the wreckage of 11 other ships. His hand shook as he reached for the communication controls. This is Commander Voss to Admiral Kane, he transmitted. Priority emergency, the Terrans. They're not like the other species. They fight like us. But better, much better. Explain yourself. Kane's voice crackled back. They have technology we've never seen. Tactics we can't counter. My entire squadron is gone. 12 heavy cruisers destroyed by a single enemy ship. Silence on the channel. Then Kane's voice, very quiet. One ship? Yes, sir. One ship and its drone fighters. Admiral, we need to rethink our strategy. These Terrans are... The transmission cut off as the Defiance's main cannon reduced Voss's flagship to glowing debris. Riley leaned back in her command chair, feeling the adrenaline of battle fade from her enhanced system. Around her, the bridge crew was already preparing for the next engagement. Damage report, she ordered. Minor scoring on the outer hull, Torres replied. No significant damage. All systems operating at full capacity. Drone losses? 3 units destroyed, 7 damaged, Pilot Marcus reported. Repairs underway. Riley nodded. 12 Vex heavy cruisers destroyed, and they had lost 3 small drones. The mathematics of this war were very much in humanity's favor. Oracle, scan for Vex communication traffic. Multiple emergency transmissions detected, the AI reported. The enemy appears to be confused. Many ships are requesting new orders. Some are abandoning their patrol routes. Fear, Riley said with satisfaction. They're finally afraid. For 3 centuries, fear had been the Vex Empire's greatest weapon. They conquered through terror, making species surrender rather than face their military might. Now that fear was turning against them. On occupied worlds throughout Vex space, slaves heard whispered stories about a ghost ship that appeared from nowhere and destroyed entire squadrons. Resistance groups began sabotaging Vex installations, inspired by tales of the mysterious Terrans who could actually fight the Empire and win. Set course for the next target, Riley ordered. Send another message to Admiral Beck. Tell him the enemy is beginning to fracture. Fear is spreading through their ranks. Message sent, Captain. Course plotted for the Xerion system. As the Defiance jumped to hyperspace, its crew prepared for the next battle. Each engagement brought them closer to the heart of the Vex Empire, and each victory spread more terror through enemy ranks. The hunters had become the hunted. The galaxy's greatest predators were learning what it felt like to be prey, and Captain Riley was just getting started. Admiral Kane stood in the war room of his flagship, surrounded by holographic displays showing the collapse of his empire. Red zones on the galactic map were turning gray as his forces abandoned their positions. Fear had spread like a virus through the Vex military. How many ships have we lost to this single Terran vessel? He asked. His aide, General Nex, checked his datapad with shaking hands. 47 warships in the past month, sir, including 3 of our best squadron commanders. Kane slammed his fist on the table. 1 ship? How is 1 ship destroying my entire fleet? The reports are consistent, Admiral. They fight unlike any species we've encountered. Their technology is superior to ours. Their tactics are perfect. Kane looked at the tactical display showing his home system, Vex Prime. Over 3,000 ships surrounded the planet, the largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history. Every available warship had been recalled for the final battle. Let them come, Kane said. I don't care how advanced they are. No single ship can face 3,000. He was about to learn how wrong he could be. Captain Riley sat in her command chair as the Defiance dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Vex home system. Through her neural link with Oracle, she could sense the massive enemy fleet waiting for them. Tactical analysis, she said quietly. Oracle's voice whispered in her mind. 3,047 Vex vessels detected. Multiple ship classes from escort frigates to heavy dreadnoughts. They have formed a defensive sphere around their homeworld. Riley smiled. After months of hit-and-run attacks, the Vex had finally gathered their entire fleet in one place. Perfect. Communications. Open a channel to the Vex flagship. Channel. Open, Captain. Riley's voice carried across the void to Admiral Kane's bridge. Admiral Kane of the Vex Empire. I am Captain Riley of the Terran Defense Force. You have 1 chance to surrender. Kane's reply came back filled with rage. Surrender. You face the might of 3,000 warships. You are outnumbered beyond counting. Numbers don't matter when you're fighting the wrong war, Riley said. You've spent 3 centuries terrorizing civilians. We've spent the same time learning how to kill. Kane cut the transmission and turned to his fleet commanders. All ships, attack formation. Destroy that ship. Show the galaxy that the Vex Empire cannot be defeated. The massive fleet began to move, 3,000 ships advancing like a wall of metal and death. Any normal commander would have retreated. Any sane person would have run. Riley gave the order that ended an empire. Oracle, activate Protocol 7. The Defiance began to change. Sections of the ship's hull split apart like flower petals opening. Hidden bays revealed themselves, each one containing a smaller vessel. The single ship became 10, then 20, then 50 separate craft, each one crewed by enhanced humans and armed with humanity's most advanced weapons. What is this? Kane whispered, watching his tactical display fill with new contacts. Riley's voice came through the communication channel, now speaking from multiple ships simultaneously. You wanted to see our full strength, Admiral. Here it is. The Terran, fleet spread out in perfect formation. Each ship moved with the same precision as the drones, guided by Oracle's tactical intelligence and crewed by humans whose enhanced minds could process information at superhuman speeds. All ships, engage the enemy, Riley commanded. What followed was not a battle. It was a masterpiece of military destruction. The Terran ships moved through the Vex formation like surgeons with scalpels. They didn't waste shots or attack randomly. Every weapon fired at a specific target for a specific purpose. Every maneuver was calculated to maximize damage while minimizing risk. The Vex ships were large and powerful, but they were also slow and predictable. Their commanders had spent centuries fighting frightened civilians who barely fought back. They had no experience with opponents who could think faster, move quicker, and coordinate better than any force in the galaxy. The first 100 Vex ships died in the opening minutes. Terran energy weapons punched through their shields like paper. Quantum torpedoes phased through their armor and exploded inside their hulls. Kinetic rounds moving at impossible speeds simply erased entire sections of enemy vessels. Focus fire. On their command ships, Kane ordered desperately, take out their leaders. But there were no weak points in the Terran formation. Every ship was commanded by an enhanced human linked to Oracle's network. If one ship was destroyed, the others immediately compensated. The fleet fought as a single organism with 50 heads. Admiral. Kane watched his carefully planned defense crumble in real time. His ships were dying faster than his computers could count. The space around Vex Prime filled with debris and burning atmosphere from destroyed vessels. Sir, we've lost 800 ships, General Nex reported. The outer defensive line has collapsed. Then fall back to the inner perimeter. Use the planet's defense platforms. The surviving Vex ships retreated toward their homeworld, seeking shelter behind massive orbital weapons platforms. The platforms were each the size of cities, armed with cannons that could destroy moons. Riley watched the enemy withdrawal through Oracle's sensors. Target the defense platforms first. Clear the way to their flagship. The Terran fleet's main guns charged up simultaneously. 50 ships fired as one, their combined energy output rivaling a small star. The orbital platforms didn't just explode, they were vaporized, turned into clouds of superheated gas in milliseconds. Kane's flagship, the Devastator, found itself alone and exposed. Around it, the burning hulks of 3,000 ships drifted in the darkness. The most powerful fleet in galactic history had been destroyed in less than 2 hours. This is impossible, Kane said, his voice barely a whisper. Riley's ship approached the damaged flagship. Her voice came through the communication system one final time. You asked what we are, Admiral. We are what happens when a peaceful species decides to embrace war. We are what you created when you terrorized the galaxy for 3 centuries. Kane looked up at his tactical display, where a single Terran ship was targeting his bridge. Please, my ship surrenders. I surrender. The Corax tried to surrender, Riley said. The Nexari tried to surrender. How did that work out for them? The energy beam that destroyed Kane's flagship could be seen from the surface of Vex Prime. The explosion marked the end of 300 years of galactic terror. Riley stood on the bridge of the Defiance as her fleet regrouped around the conquered world. Below them, Vex Prime burned as liberation forces freed billions of slaves. Across the galaxy, the news was spreading. The Vex Empire was dead. "Captain," Lieutenant Torres reported, "we're receiving surrender transmissions from Vex forces throughout the galaxy. Most of their remaining ships are abandoning their positions." "Let them run," Riley said. "The war is over," Oracle's voice whispered in her mind. "Congratulations, Captain. Total Vex casualties, 97% of their military forces. Terran casualties, minimal." Riley nodded. The mathematics had been in humanity's favor from the beginning. The Vex had ruled through fear and superior numbers. When they faced an enemy with superior technology and training, their empire collapsed like a house of cards. "Send a message to Admiral Beck," she ordered. "Tell him the galaxy is free. The Vex Empire is finished." 3 months later, Riley stood in the observation deck of Terra Station, humanity's first embassy to the galactic community. Through the transparent walls, she could see ships from dozens of species arriving for the first Galactic Peace Conference. The freed species wanted to honor humanity as their saviors. They offered trade agreements, technology exchanges, and military alliances. Some even wanted to worship humans as gods of war. Riley had turned down most of the offers. Humanity had revealed its strength to save the galaxy, but they didn't want to rule it. They had learned the lesson of the Vex Empire. Power, without restraint, led to corruption and destruction. "Captain," Oracle said through the station's communication system, "Admiral Beck is requesting your presence at the peace negotiations. Tell him I'll be there in a moment." Riley looked out at the stars one more time. The galaxy was safe now, but she knew this was only the beginning. Humanity had stepped onto the galactic stage, and there would be new challenges ahead. But for now, for the first time in 3 centuries, the galaxy was at peace. Children on 1,000 worlds could sleep without fear. The age of terror was over, and if anyone else decided to threaten that peace, they would learn the same lesson as the Vex Empire. Humanity was done hiding. They had shown the galaxy what they could do when forced to fight. They hoped they would never have to do it again, but they were ready if they did.